morning, everybody. Welcome here to your world of mine. Show me yours and I'll show you mine. And today we have beautiful Lala here, and she's joining us all the way from Singapore. And you'll soon see why I am very interested in Lala and what she's doing on your beautiful planet, because she's quite an amazing being. You know, I'm still waking up. Where I am on my planet, it's dark outside, and you'll see the difference. And how wonderful technology is that we can actually now share this with you. And you see behind Lala, there is the light of the buildings behind her and the beautiful view that she has there. Just magnificent. Wow. Oh, thank you, Lala, for sharing that with us. With me, it's all, behind me, it's all black and dark currently. But that's wonderful. So that's the wonders of technology in your world. So Lala, tell us a little bit about you. What is your experience of your world like?
I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm a mom of a 3-year-old daughter. So my world currently is very different from the world that I lived in for many years. My beautiful daughter name is Chelsea, and she has been a game changer to my life and to the world around me. So as an entrepreneur, I'm very ambitious, workaholic, and having a child, it's kind of makes you, you know, as a mom, you don't want to give up on your dreams and hopes, but at the same time, as a mom, you know, you really treasure the daughter you have. So this is the world I live in. I have two education technology companies, as the CEO and founder, and also a mom of a daughter. So especially on trips like that, I miss my daughter, but it's also helps me to be creative and stay connected with my daughter and my colleagues back home, which is about 56 people. And it's yeah, it's challenging, but it makes you creative, and challenging, it's more fun too, in a way.
Wow, that's wow. Now, Lala, I'm really curious now. So you tell us about beautiful Chelsea, your daughter, and your environment back home. Where is home?
My home is Myanmar. Myanmar is in Southeast Asia. We are just between two giant nations, which is India and China. So Myanmar is a 55 million population, not a small country. It's a big country. The size of it is about Texas in US. And the population is also about 55 million. And I come from a city called Yangon. Yangon used to be the capital city, but it remains to be the cosmopolitan and commercial city. And my city has 5 million population, the same size as Singapore.
Wow, that's absolutely fabulous. You know, I'm really curious now as well. You've just made me more and more curious. I'm waking up very quickly because your story is incredible. Because you say you have two companies that you lead. How old are you? May I ask that? in human years.
Well, in human years, I am 37 years old.
Oh, that's fantastic. And you have two companies. And tell us a little bit more about these companies. You talked about technology education. Am I correct?
Sorry?
You were speaking about technological education? Education.
Education, right.
Yeah. What is it that you do exactly with in these companies?
Yes, the first company is called 360 Edge. It is a software company, and we leverage virtual reality and augmented reality. So we develop software and content in VR and AR for students. And I was born as a very visual learner, and I liked 3D animations and colors and pictures. But the world I come from, Myanmar, our textbooks are very black and white, and it's not attractive. So someone like me had lots of trouble in the classroom, not having interest in the lessons and all that. And it was 40 years back, and it stayed the same, But the problem was from the old world. but we now have in the new world have new technology like smartphones. Smartphone, in a way, they are the like computer, very powerful computer devices. And Myanmar is one of the latecomers to the game that we didn't have line phones, and we didn't have the flip phones, and we just directly jumped to the smartphones. So smartphone penetrations in Myanmar is 85%, and everybody has smartphone in their pocket and is connected to the internet. So with this new technology and new opportunity, I use the agency resources, which is smartphone in their pocket, and the old textbooks, black and white textbook, to scan it, and they see amazing 3D animations coming out, and with augmented reality technology. So this is what I do, and our brand name is called Datinbone, DATTHINBONE, and our products are in the market, and it is a good sale, and it's a first of its kind in Myanmar, and it's a part of the regional countries as well. So 360 does AR technology for learning, making the learning alive, active, relevant, and fun. And VR, another technology we use is VR, virtual reality technology. And Myanmar students, we have about, 900,000 Myanmar students taking the high school exams every year, 900,000 every year, and only 30% pass, 70% fail every year. And it's the main problem is high school exams, science subjects are written in English. Although our mother tongue is not English, we do not speak English, but it's all written in English. So it's forced the students to learn it by heart. And it makes a huge problem. Students don't know, and it's also not very capable to explain in detail of these difficult subjects. So students fail, and our students also don't have the capacity, or financial capacity or logistic wise, to travel to visit other places. So when they learn about geography, all they have to do is draw a map and learning facts about certain area. And I used to hate geography. My mom was a geography teacher, and I wasn't very good at drawing, So I used to hate geography, but now we make learning fun and learning relevant to the real learning. So when they learn about ASEAN countries, for example, Singapore, although I'm here, my students back home have never been here, So what we do is with the virtual reality technology, we bring our students to Singapore when they're learning about ASEAN countries and nations, and when they're learning about our local, locations and their resources and their challenges, like socio-economic factors, we use virtual reality by teleporting students to those places, because everybody has smartphones, and the cupboards are very affordable. It's only $2, $2 or $3 Singaporean dollar. Everybody can afford, and they can download our app, put it in the cupboard, and they are in the area that they are learning. So we use technology to make the learning alive, fun, relevant, and very real. So especially the digital natives and Generation Z, they are very connected to the world. They want to be connected to the world, and they want to know what's happening in the other world. So we connect the world with this AR and VR technology in Myanmar, and we are one of the disruptors of this education industry. And this is the wall around me, and with 360 Ed. And the other company is called Mega 360. Mega 360 is it's an innovation lab where students explore and work on projects that is based on the 5 science, technology, engineering, arts, especially arts and mathematics. And I am a mom of a daughter, so it's very important that girls are encouraged to such space, and girls are encouraged to take courses on, digital fabrication and robotics and coding and programming. In the beginning, such kind of courses are only, available and very expensive. So parents, if they have 3 child, they send, not the daughter. it's important to me to incorporate art factor. Daughters are also attracted to those causes, and they are now, same as or even better, at the boys.
Yeah.
So make open classes for courses on digital fabrication, robotics, coding, programming, arts, and some sort of mathematics as well. So this is what Mega 360 did. And we also focus on democratizing access to quality education like that to the whole population. We try as much as we can. So what we do is let me show you, make a space in a box. What I bring here is a box. Yeah, this box has magic inside. The magics are instructions, instructions of the projects that they need to do. It's written in both English and Myanmar language, detailed instructions step by step, and also the material list. And what they have in the little pouches are the materials they need for the building robots. So this one, for example, is hydraulic jack. Hydraulic jack. All they use is the syringe and a very, very easy, affordable tools to make a robot. And this one, for example, is a fan bolt. And what they have here is a battery, and so instructions are there, and materials are there, and the tools are there. The students who cannot afford to go to expensive international school, or even the Megas 360, because of the cost, they can still purchase these type of boxes and work together with their parents, and that builds confidence in themselves that I can build and I can create. So it's what we do at Mega 360. So producing these type of boxes and making education, quality education like this, project-based learning, affordable for others. Yes. So I run those two education technology company when I'm not chasing my 3-year-old girl.
Wow, I am absolutely stunned. I'll tell you why. Firstly, you are an amazing being, and I want to really appreciate you and honor you for what you're doing for the world currently and for humanity, especially in your region and the rest of the world. I just see it rippling out because it's something that we are that we on my planet are really fascinated about, and we're busy with a very interesting project too. And there's such alignment here of what you're doing from a technology point of view, and from this project-based learning, like you say, in maker spaces, and this build and create. We also bring all the disciplines together: art, science, everything together, engineering, everything together. It's just wonderful what you're doing. Virtual reality learning. I don't even have words how to explain this fascination that I now have because of what you are doing and what we are busy doing. Because you play such a big role in this transition in education, like you say, from a textbook to this virtual, making it very real for the person. And like you say, they don't have to be in Singapore, but they can have this experience of Singapore no matter where they are. And that has a big impact on climate change as well.
Exactly.
And those type of other areas in life and on the planet. We're playing with, on my planet, with perception. Of different ways of perceiving, like, when I was young, just that textbook. And then already I noticed something very interesting. I noticed when I was a little girl that we not all perceive in the same way. And that some of the kids were labeled as not clever, not smart, because they were perceiving in a different way, but the school system didn't spoke to those parts of their brains, number one, and their bodies, that they've been born with at that time. Now you must think about 40 years ago that we're speaking about now. The teachers didn't know about this. They didn't recognize it. The educators didn't recognize it. The people who designed all these courses, and like you say, the same stuff that came from 20, 30 years before was still used, although the world changed drastically. And also the people, because the people evolved. Different parts of the brains got activated through time. You came in at a very different time when I came into this world. So you bring different qualities. And you just shared with us in like 15 minutes this amazing thing that you are doing, which is completely different from when I was young. You know, the way children had the opportunity to explore and to discover for themselves through their own eyes. The wonderful thing that you share is that they see this through their own eyes. So whatever the experience is, and there's 8 billion people on this planet of yours, and everybody sees differently. Not two single people see in the same way.
Right.
And now you're making it possible for them to have this amazing direct experience. We call it a direct experience. Because if we take it back to the time where I come from, it was through the eyes of somebody else that you learned. Their perception, and that included all their mind's filters of how they see the world, and they could see the world as a victim, or they could see the world as, no, I've got all this potential. There's, you know, it's two very, very different worlds, but we used to see them through somebody else's worlds. Whatever was taught to us was not a direct experience, it was secondary. But you now, besides all this wonderful other senses, and we call them our extrasensory abilities. You talk about teleporting them through technology to another place, making it possible for them to experience it real life through their eyes.
Through the eyes.
So that's why we call it the direct experience. But even if you now, what I'm fascinated about now in this moment is the fact that when you share these different worlds with them, and that's exactly what we are doing now, we're exploring these different worlds, the senses that you use as a human being. Now, I'm also very visual.
Yeah.
I'm extremely visual. I see things visually as well, but I'm also very sensory in my other senses. So I personally have had the capacity to awaken all my other senses at the same time. So now it becomes one sense. So the seeing, the hearing, the feeling, the texture of touch, the smelling, the tasting is one actually now with me. I'm very lucky, which we call our seventh sense when they all combine. And your imagination gets, like when you say with this virtual reality type technology, and we already see it for many, many years, many decades already with gaming, is different. Yes. And your reactive times is very different from what it used to have to be, because your response time is much quicker to what's happening around you in those, especially if it's a game. So I want to ask you now, in terms of this realities that you're creating for them, what senses do you stimulate the most? Visual and auditory?
Yes, in terms of senses, visual and auditory, but virtual reality is an empathy machine in a way. So we can place the students in the shoes of another person's life, you know. So we ran a hackathon is a 3-day event where we ran with the schools. The students join the hackathon, and then at the end of the 3 days, we co-create the content. So a student welcome us, you know, welcome to my wall, and they tell about, you know, something that they really treasure, or they share about their, you know, classroom setting, or they tell about the game that they're going to be in, you know, tournament and things like that. It's from a student's perspective. So for ages, for decades, and we have enforced, and we have only, what we only have available is telling the stories from one person, you know, perspective, like you were sharing. Now with this new tool, new technology tool like virtual reality, and then the filming of virtual reality is not supersonic. Actually, it is easy. We have been teaching this to over 3 days to 11 years old, 12 years old, you know, young children. And the story they create is amazing. And it is the time I'll later share with you the stories, on our 360 YouTube channel. The stories they create is totally from a new perspective, very fresh idea, new ideas. So now in this 21st century, it's time to co-create the content, learning materials for the students, by the students, not just by educators, PhD, doctors, ancestors, but it's time, very constantly, and they are very used to this constant response and all that, with the like you were sharing the different areas of the brain, got activated. And if we think about it this way, in my world, the whole day, when they are awake for like 12 hours, they have been simulated differently through the radio, through the TV, or through the cell phone the parents have, or, all these things around them are very simulative. But when they go to the classroom, they are suddenly dead because textbooks are black and white, and teachers are, using the same teaching methods and same tools. So they get so bored and not interested in the classroom. And these are new digital natives, they are different from our generation, your generation, and my parents' generation. So we need to really disrupt our own thinking and system and status quo. Is it really right, good, fair for these new kids to be teaching the way we were taught? If not, we have to disrupt. And a country like Myanmar, still considerably very poor. There are many population living under $1, per day. So we have to think extreme affordability. Whatever we are giving, is it really affordable for major public? And the augmented reality technology that we're providing, the box has about 79 images, and it has other features of gamify learning. And for the whole box, what we sell is $7. And for the whole year, and if they want to pass on to another generation, it's fine too, things like that. So very affordable, and that's all they need for the whole year. And what they have already is the smartphone in their pocket. And we want to bridge this old world and new world learning. The old world learning, I did a survey with 2 schools, one private school, one public school, with teachers and students. I tell them, when I say the word learning, what comes to your mind? Please draw or write, And a lot of them write about the schools, or, they describe libraries or teachers and books, of course. And none of them write about phones. It's really shocked me, why not? They see phone as a communication device and gaming device, not as a learning device. But in order to get connected to the democratized access of the world's education, we need to be on this, mobile phone and, learning through the MOOC, like edX, Coursera, and whatnot. So I really worry as a educator, my God, why my people not seeing phone as a, learning device? And then they want to have very physical things as a teacher or as a classroom, or, very physical. So it makes me wonder, what bridge do I need to build to bring those teachers and students from that old world to this new world? Well, as it's democratized, all the classes, amazing classes are online for free, and you can pay $50 for a certificate, things like that. But they are not like taking it advantage. So I come up with 4 reasons. One is language. It's in English language. We don't speak English, so that's one major barrier. Second is the habit. We don't have this habit of learning on our own. We almost worship our teachers and, listen to teacher, and teacher kind of like bless us to learn, things like that. So we don't have this habit of self-learning. It's a spoon-feeding learning. So we have to overcome this spoon-feeding and, migrate to self-learning type. And another component is the confidence. The confidence, I don't have confidence to learn on my own. I don't think I can do it. This is very important to me. As a mom of this alpha generation, whatever we're teaching now will be obsolete in 10 years. I'll still send her to school, and she'll still have her social life and everything. But I know at the end of a decade or so, she has to learn new things, because the world is changing way faster than So what she needs to have in her toolbox is the confidence and the habit to self-learning and continuous learning, and to welcome this unknown. I don't even know what her world look like, but this, comfortability with unknown and uncertainty. These are the four things really like blocking our students or learners in Myanmar, and we need to bridge that gap or wall to this new. So what I want to do is with this cell phone they already have, and with the augmented reality, they need a marker or a picture to scan, and together with what they're already familiar, the textbook, old textbook is fine, old textbook, and scan with it, they see voila, amazing 3D animations, and the boxes like that too. When they finish one project, the sense of accomplishment and sense of confidence, I can do it, keep on doing one project after another. It's very important for this 21st century learner. If they are future ready, are they? If not, then we as an educator have to really challenge and reconsider our own teaching style. I am a mom, I'm too busy, I can't teach many students, so I leverage technology to create, exponential impact through this scalable technology. And the boxes like that, we can open the classes to maybe 50, 100 students per day. But when we create boxes like that, we are impacting 100 schools, 1,000 schools, every day, things like that. So nowadays with this new world, new technologies, and we can do so much, we can do a lot and create exponential impact. And it's very important to me that we don't know, I don't know about your world in another planet, but in our world, our life expectancy is about, if you're lucky, maybe you'll live up to 80 years or 70 years. And I am now 35, 37, so already halfway. I really want to create the more positive impact I can leave behind before I leave. So it is like in a way I'm now in a hotel in another country, so we are here and as a guest, and we will check out, right? We will check out of the hotel and leave where we came from. And before we check out, before I check out, before I die, I really want to make sure that I have a pleasant stay. I want to make sure that I have a meaningful stay, and I want to make sure that there are changes, positive changes happen because I visited, things like that. So this is my philosophy of life, people check out before we know, and I will also check out very soon or later. But before we leave, while we are still alive, it's important to make difference and contributed to the world that we inherited, to make it better, to make it better with the technology or with your, intelligence, whatever. Yeah. So now I'm talking to you and sharing this with others as well, because I hope many people will be listening to this and get motivated as well, to share not only to the small world that we live in, but to the one whole world that we all share. So yeah, we do little bits of our parts.
Yeah, I'm speechless. I'm a wordsmith, so I'm good with words, but I am completely, honestly, wordless at the moment. I'm speechless because you have combined what I've been working towards for 4 decades. You have shown the possibility of this new being, and what I call a new being on your planet, of what we call the joy generation. And why do we call it the joy generation? It's because it's not the stereotype, there's many stereotyping going on your planet, and on mine too, about what they would call the millenniums and all sorts of things. And we discover that humans give stereotyping because they're afraid of what they don't know about. So when a new generation comes in, the older generations, with all due respect, they don't understand the potential is my personal passion is human potential. And you now are a physical example and a real life example of how you use this potential that you've been birthed with. This, and it's your birthright. It's a gift that you bring to the world. Every single human being brings a gift to the world. And in our world, there's no just gifted children, not gifted children. Everyone is gifted. And you now enabling every single child to live their gift, because you're awakening it in them by using technology, augmented technology. You talk about cell phones. We call it bricolage. You use what's already there, like, and what's relevant now, not what was relevant 50 years ago, what's relevant now. And you use that in the learning process. We don't even have a word as education, because for us, learning is very different from studying. Mm-hmm. Anybody can study. We say being learned and being brilliant is two different things. Mm-hmm. You bring the two together. And we don't call it really even learning anymore, because it's continuously exploring and expanding your experience and getting to know more and become aware of more. And then the direct experience that you give to them through using technology like this beautiful augmented technology makes it real for everybody. Doesn't matter where they are. And like you say, I really resonate with the words affordability, because not everybody is living in Europe, for example. And I'm saying this with a lot of respect to the Europeans. Not everybody is living in the USA, for example. There's lots of people in Africa, which is much like your environment, where they cannot afford these expensive courses, for example, paying so much money to get an MBA one day or whatever degree, which again is the secondary experience through somebody else's eyes. And it's very 1D, it's flat. It's not interactive. And you bring a lot of components that we are really fascinated about of how we respond to the world, but also how we approach the world. So there's a two-way thing going on. If I'm coming towards you, I'm approaching you. So how am I now presencing myself when I approach you? And that's where your self-confidence thing comes in very clearly as well. And one day when these kids that you are now sharing this learning experiences with, that one day when they go out into the world and they find this passion inside, that's what we work with much, is this human potential inside of every human being, and using whatever technologies and resources are available out there to enhance this experience. Now you're doing it already beautifully. All your things that you're speaking about, the English, the self-confidence, all those things, we are working with to ignite from within this desire, this urge, this impact that you want, to be creative, to be the maker and the builder, because we believe everybody is creative. Everybody's not artistic, but everybody's creative, because for us it's a big difference, and people put them in the same thing. When we work with especially older people, they tell us that they're not creative, but because they link it, they have association with it, like they're a painter. And that has nothing to do with it. Right. Like you explaining with these boxes, I love those make space boxes of yours, because they build it. We've seen with the ones, we even don't call them younger people on our planet, we call them the ones who came more recently, because they bring in so much more into this world. And if you just look at the last 100 years, how much more came into the world than the past 2000. So like you say, it's rapidly transforming very quickly. So we have to respond to it. That's where the responsive side comes in. And now with the way you are sharing learning experiences, that response time becomes much quicker as well. In my time, you could have taken days to go through a textbook and learn, but that's studying, it's not learning. Because you would simply try to take in, remember that you can give it, that you can now write about it maybe later in a test or something. But this, what you talk about, is a direct experience. So there's a lot more going on there. Because when I'm a nomad myself, I travel a lot, like different planets, different places, like to experience what's going on there, share and experience deeply what's really going on in the culture. How do people think? How do they feel? And all those type of things. So when I'm a nomad, I want to take in. But now you're making it possible for me that I don't have to physically travel, that through this virtual reality, I can experience that.
Yes.
And that makes it a direct experience. And then, like you say, the empathy thing comes in. Everything comes in.
Everything comes in.
So even now, you see, there's this echo on the line. I don't know why that's happening, but it's showing me that there's, when these type of things happen in technology, that there's a lot to be explored here.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm really fascinated by your also, and I'm really grateful for that you're sharing this with the world, this thing about making impact. And your story, how you explained it, is most beautiful, the visiting part. You're visiting the hotel, you're going to exit. What do and where the generations where I come from wanted the job security, and then they retire, and then what? Then they wait for death to exit. That doesn't make any sense. So I want everybody who's actually going to engage in this, not even watch, engage in what we are and what you've shared, to really take time to really sense and think and feel into what you shared, because there's a big difference of wanting to live making an impact than to work towards a pension, for example, that you can retire one day, and then what? And really developing this creator part that's in ourselves. And you're doing it beautifully. And you're making it very practical. So it's not woo-woo stuff, it's very practical, like the boxes that you make. Now, Lala, I'm really, I'm stunned. I'm absolutely stunned. And I know that every single human on this planet, and we want as many as possible humans to experience what you just shared and to connect with you and also to support you. You're doing such an amazing thing. And that's what's for us about as well, is that wonderful people like yourself, this joy generation that's coming in now, bringing these new things into the world, that you are supported by the ones who came before, the ones who've been here longer, to support you in and your initiatives in whatever way possible. Because it's important, because like you say, the children, they're the future.
Yes.
They still have to go through life, and the ones who've been here much longer, they've had most of their life, and they can still impact. So don't think that if you are 50 years on this planet or 60 years, you can't make an impact. Yes, you can, just maybe in a different way, of the way that you've been used to. But also explore these new things. Don't be afraid of it. I know I have many friends who are very, number one, they say, I'm brilliant with technology, but they're afraid of it. And when you speak about virtual reality, ooh, stuff is going on. They get so afraid because it's just strange to them. But it's more about the children now, and what you say, like you say, what are your daughter like, your 3-year-old? I have grandchildren. I also have a 3-year-old grandchild in New Zealand, and a 2-year-old. So the two of them, I want to expose them to this learning that you are sharing about. I want them to have that. I don't want them to go to traditional school and get conformed, and not being able to think creatively or independently, but to be able to use all these wonderful instruments in the body and in the mind through the tools that's available that you are beautifully creating.
Yeah, in this day and age, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. If the wheel is invented or created, combined somewhere, we can use platform like this, to share. And then if they want it in another country, we'll be happy to come and share it as well. Because after all, this new generation, when they finish the high school or when they finish the college, they'll be competing, they'll be applying for the same post. The kids in New Zealand and the kids in Myanmar, they might be applying for the same post, because it become one wall. The borders are broken and all are, becoming like one wall. So it's important for them to share their learning experience and to have this global perspective. How much can we afford to bring those kids from around the world to around the world? We can, right? Logistically, it's impossible. with this new technology, virtual reality, instead of just using in military or real estate or gaming industry, why don't we use it for learning? Why don't we use it for education? Bring students to New Zealand from Myanmar, and Myanmar students to Singapore, and New Zealand students to Kenya, and why not? It's all possible now. It also simulates this their senses, and they want to. Now my students, when I brought them to California with virtual reality technology, I want to go to California. Some of them even write down, one day I'm going to California. You know? Whether it happened or not, I'm so glad that they have this such motivation, and they keep reading on it, and they find out more about it because they experience it. You know, it's like I am sharing my experience. Previously, it's not possible. Only through words that I can share, or maybe pictures, you know, flat screen or photos. But now with VR, I share my experience with them, and they experience it. Now they are very excited. You know, things like it. It's really very happy to see how motivated they become. You know, when they are able to travel like that. You know, with VR. And let's say I put you on a like mountain with a VR view, mountain view on VR, and then your knees start shaking and your palms start sweating because so real. And if we put the chiller or if we put the fan next to you, and you even like feel like falling, you know, things like that. It's so real. It's next to real experience. So why don't we use it to our classroom, which is very fitting, you know. After all, learning is for life, not just for passing a test or to put diplomas on a wall. Learning is for life. So we should really prepare using all these amazing technology of this new world to help in this learning. And if we at 360 at Omega 360, we really focus on teachers' education, because teachers, in regardless of where they are the influencers, and they have the authority over their children's education. And if teachers are afraid, then doors are closed. We must not scare the teachers. We have to really encourage and help them see the beauty of how excited the children became with this new technology. So we give trainings on teachers, and also, you know, running workshop sessions for teachers, how to use this technology. Once teachers are on board, it's a beautiful wall. They become, you know, no generation gap between teachers and students. They are one wall creating amazing things. They are one wall sharing and learning together. So I really like to encourage others as well. You know, if you want us to come and share our products or our technology, you know, we're happy to, because in this day and age, no need to reinvent the wheel. You know, use away our wheels and, you know, localize it as needed. And the reason I'm now in Singapore is also to make our products global. So we are already talking with Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia for the launch, and Hong Kong and regional. But why not New Zealand, and why not, you know, other parts of the world as well? And we already passionately create something, and if they want to use it, we're more than happy to share.
That is so wonderful. You know, I'm really want to connect with you after this beautiful sharing, because we have a thing that we do with young people, and you've just shared, we were wondering how we can share with more young people, that it's not just a move, you know, that it's an experience where young people go around the world and have experience of amazing different places. And the whole thing apart is to learn about themselves, this beautiful potential inside of themselves, while experiencing the world and being part of impact projects wherever we go. But we wanted to share that with the rest of the world. So these are a few young people going in 2019 around the world, 320 days around the world. But you have given us the tool, and like you say, we were wondering how can we share it with more people, because it's about, and it will make it very real for everybody else that's then using the tools that you've got, that they can experience it too. That it's not just for an exclusive few children, young people, not children, who's doing this, but that these extraordinary experiences are available to everybody that's going to then do something like virtual reality, and these packs that you make can actually experience it too. So I will connect afterwards with you, that we can explore how can we do that very real for more for a lot more young people across the globe to have
That
that
would be wonderful if,
experience.
yes, that would be, I think, really wonderful to have this experience digitized and share across. Then it will benefit a lot of, young children. These contents, if we teach them it before, if we teach these young people before they travel around the world how to film in VR and all that, they don't have to do the editing. People like us, we can do the editing, and they just create. And then after that, we will make them into different small movies and share with the other kids around the world who wouldn't have this chance otherwise. There are billions of kids around the world who wouldn't have this chance. So why don't we like digitize and share those experiences in VR? And we have experience teaching this VR tool to young children as young as 11 years old. So we ran 11 hackathons in Myanmar, and 3 hackathons are with this 11 years old, 12 years old kid. And they are the smartest brains. They have the really like fresh mind and new ideas, and they pick up so quickly. They pick up so quickly, and their stories line, the way they write the storyboard and scouting, narrating, it's fresh ideas. It's not like the way I think. So I really appreciate this young generation co-creation with us. And if your friends organizing this amazing tour with young generation, that'll be a wonderful opportunity to share with rest of the world.
No, that's what we want to do. And initially we thought every single one of them has to share their experience with 3 others, at least 3 others. But now you're making it available that it ripples out, that whoever can, on a very affordable way, can actually have access to it and experience it and show them these different beautiful parts of the world, these amazing cultures and people, what they are doing, and in the process, it just goes out. So that's wonderful. You see, what we love is what we call synchronicity and serendipity. Like today, I mean, I reached out to you very intuitively. I need to, because I'm doing this with lots of people from all over the world, different ages. And yeah, there's such alignment of what we're doing and you're doing of co-creating. This is beautiful co-creation. And I really like the way you speak about co-creation with the younger ones. Yes. The younger ones, because that's for me, they are the powerhouses today. When I say powerhouses, not in the old way we looked at power, but they are the ones bringing in this beautiful new things. And we use what's already there, like you say, that's already there. It's not reinventing the wheel, but we bring things together. We bring the old worlds and the new worlds together. And for me, that's very good news. So I'm really grateful that you have taken the time, even before you go to the airport in Singapore, to share this with the world, because we really want this to, like a virus, go out into the world, that people can hear about what you're doing. I sometimes think, and I'm saying this with a lot of respect, there's a lot of older people who's really trying to create new systems, new ways of education, and all those type of things. But there's still a big disconnect between what's available and what they think it can be. And even on that level, what you are bringing to the world brings those 2 worlds together, because I've got good intentions, and that's wonderful. But I think it was Einstein who said you can't do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. And in some ways, some people still do the same thing just in a different way, but they expect a new result. But now, use what's available and connect with people like yourself and open up this whole new way of looking at education, because everything, I love to draw when I explain things. I'm very visual, so I like to draw and make pictures. I always draw education at the core of everything, because it's the way we experience the world that will eventually decide on how we're going to relate to other people, how we're going to do life, how we're going to treat the planet and each other, all those beautiful things. So education is at the core of that. And our own happiness, this joy generation that I'm talking about. You are an example of the joy generation. So thank you so much. Now, I just want to ask you, do you have a message for the ones who came more recently, the younger ones?
a lot of people ask me why I do what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I was one of the students who got punished all the time in class. I was a misfit, and I quit high school. But I took the exams to university, and finally made it to Harvard and all that. But I was one of the misfit who can sit still and who can just stare at the colorless book and recite. And when I visited the school, I still see the same. And I still see the similar kids like me still being punished, for not being able to recite and not reciting at the same old textbooks. So I do, that's one thing. Another thing is I want to stop the killings. And from the world, you hear about Myanmar, and what you hear is of only one part of what's happening with the Rohingya community, but it actually in Myanmar, the killings has been happening, not only in that area, all over Myanmar, all over, especially with the ethnic areas. The some call it ethnic cleansing. We don't call it ethnic cleansing, but the fights between the majority, I'm Burman majority, and minorities. 85% of people are Burman, but the rest is minorities. Because Myanmar has been this very resource-rich country. So it drove us to much more fightings and civil wars, but resource fights, we don't make, human resources are not there. So what we export is natural resources. So in order to get those natural resources, we have to fight with those who live in that land, So brothers and sisters, all this, generation have been fighting. I want to stop that. In order to stop that, we have to move this country's economy from extraction-based, natural resources-based economy to more knowledge-based economy. And there's no other way than in education, through transformation through education. And Myanmar is one of the countries very, very poor. We don't have human resources enough in the country to really make the change. There are resources around Myanmar, people around the Myanmar, but they can't come back to Myanmar, or we can hire them to come to Myanmar. So money-wise, we cannot afford. And time-wise, we have already kind of wasted and lost 5 decades in this military dictatorship. We're now reconnecting to the world, so we don't have time and money as the resources. So what we are leveraging is technology to bring these young generation and current generations to more knowledge-based economy. And knowledge-based economy is not just about knowledge, but this, like I explained, this confidence and habit of continuous learning. And what we are doing is instilling those confidence and instilling these habits in the young generations and students. And through technology, that teaching them they can do it. It's not to just expect someone from other parts of the world or someone great guru to bless them, that they can learn themselves. That's what we are doing. And ultimate goal is I want to stop the killing. Once we can transform the country, our country's average population is 26.3, very young population, average, very, very young. So it could be a blessing and it could be a curse. It could be a blessing if we can really work on education to reform the education system and reform the country, but it could be a curse, because all we have is no more resources, and all we have is human. So we export the human to be the low wage, low wage and skilled labor in other countries. Then it's a waste of the human in the country. So I really want to transform the national economy from extraction based to more knowledge based, and that's why I'm doing. And ultimate goal is to stop killing each other because of the resource fight. And that's all I'm striving for.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I truly feel that, in the sense that the world will be a very different place when there's more knowledge, like you say, and the stopping of extraction to fuel economies. But there's also the part of abusing the human resources as well that's going on in the world currently, also because of the lack of knowledge, of understanding, and of making things real for each other. So I would really like to invite everybody to reach out to you who's watching this, who's engaging in this. You're an amazing being, and thank you for your passion and your courage to do in your country and in the region, wherever in the world now. It's open for everybody has access to it. It's not anymore a closed system. And for those ones who are feeling a little bit of resistance or are afraid, if you just look at the word resistance in English, it says re, I, stance. And re means again, and I is me, and stance is my pose, how I approach and respond to the world, and how I feel about myself. There's nothing to fear when you go into this new world. There's nothing to fear when you embrace new technologies and integrate it into what you're currently doing, and to use this amazing knowledge that younger ones like yourself is bringing into the world, and the beautiful things you are doing. But at the heart of it is you were talking about killing. And these days in the world, in other countries, we don't necessarily kill each other through weapons, but it's just the way we treat each other. If you look at the migrant issue in Europe, for example, it's the way we treat other beings. And what you're empowering with these virtual reality experiences, all to have a real life experience with somebody else. You use the word stand in their shoes. That's fabulous, because I cannot have any understanding of what you're going through on a daily basis, or somebody else, and there's 8 billion on this planet. And you're enabling us through these technologies and what you're creating from a learning experience to be able to really experience somebody else's life. You see what's going on there for yourself, not what you see on television or secondary from somebody else. You're experiencing it yourself. So thank you so much for bringing this beautiful, huge gift to the world. We are so proud of what you're doing, and just so grateful for what you're doing, for education specifically as well. And yes, we can just honor you and revere you as a human being, and really everybody who can support you in whatever way you need out there, please do that. Reach out to Lala, and her information will be at the back of this podcast. So Lala, thank you so much. Some last words for all of humanity on your planet?
I'm here at your disposal. If you want to leverage our technology and localize it in your own place, let us know. We are more than happy to share and democratize with others. The more it shares, the better. So I'm at your disposal. Reach me out. And what we are doing in Myanmar is turning straws into goals. And if you want to turn straws into gold, let us know. Let's work together and create this synergetic effect together.
Oh, thank you, Lala. And thank you, behalf of everybody's 8 billion on this planet and on my planet and all the other planets. Thank you for what you're doing. And everybody, thank you for being with us today in this way. And we will see you soon. And oh, look at that beautiful view. Again, you see, now we can have that experience just from what she's doing now with the visual, to show the world that she's currently in, the experience that she's currently having, and she will soon be exiting back to home. Thank you, Lala. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.